Hey everybody, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about 5 rares that you can build, no questions asked. Let me go ahead and clarify a few things here. We're not going to be talking about voids because they're going to be a kind of a video on their own. There's enough good void rares to make their own video. 2, I'm not talking about apothecary here. Apothecary's on literally every list of good rares ever, anywhere. We all know apothecary's amazing, so I'm not going to talk about him here because I feel like, again, if you're looking up videos like this, you've seen some information about apothecary. I don't want to keep covering him and shoving him down your throats. I'm also not going to be talking about the starters here for obvious reasons. So this is 5 other rares that are worth the resources. You can book them up, you can get scrolls on them, you can use them. They're going to be good for you, okay? So that's what we're talking about here. So the first one I want to talk about is one of my personal favorites since I've been playing the game. It's Maiden. She is farmable. You can get her from the campaign. And she's just so deadgum good, man. She does what she's designed to do so well, okay? She's got a first skill that puts a 2.5% poison, which is, early game, it's nice, you take what you can get, but 2.5% poisons generally are not what you're after. You want the 5%, so that's not a huge thing for her. It's nice that she does it, helps her get a little extra damage in, but it's not really the big deal about her. Second skill, attacks one enemy, places increased attack buff on herself, and places an extra hit if she crits, and then the extra hit can't be critical, it'll just be a regular hit. Again, this is okay, not a big deal. It's on a 3-turn cooldown, so she'll keep herself buffed pretty well. If you get the crit rate on her, then she'll get the extra hit. Again, not the big deal, so it might seem strange that I'm saying she's so good, even though her A1 and A2 are kind of meh, but this A3 right here is just crazy. Attacks all enemies, 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff. Now, AoE defense break is really useful everywhere, right? Even if there's only one enemy, she's still got a good enough chance of landing it, even without books, that it'll be decent for that. But for clearing waves in dungeons, for getting through the campaign, for farming arena quickly, AoE defense break is very important. And she has a great chance of landing it on an AoE basis. And then, like I said, if you book her up, it turns into a 100% chance, which means all you have to do is worry about her accuracy. This is killer. This is so useful everywhere. You can get it down to a 3-turn cooldown. She's an excellent champ. If you get her to drop from the campaign and you're newer in the game, I would highly recommend building her. The only way I would say you would not need to use her anymore is if you have a Zargala or a Madame Ceres or someone like that that already does a good AoE defense break that can fill her role better. But as far as farmable champs and rare champs, she's among the best that place an AoE defense break, if not the best. Fantastic little champ. And I would say fully book her, it wouldn't hurt, but if you can get this booked, then you could stop, right? This is the goal, to get booked, but it wouldn't be the end of the world if you put other books into her, because again, you will be using her quite a bit until you pull one of those replacements, and even then you may still be using her. She'll be nice for faction wars. She's a killer champ, killer champ. Moving on next, we're going to talk about Soulbound Bowyer. I guess that's how you say that. She is another barbarian, newer to the game, and she's actually really cool too. She's got this 25% chance of inflicting a critical hit thing built into her full kit, and she's got an AoE A1, which is interesting. So the extra chance to place a crit hit means when you're building her, that's 25% less crit damage you can focus on, because inherently she's got a higher chance, right? She also has a crit rate lead if you needed to use that to bump it up. Now you're looking at 37% additional crit rate on top of her 15. Makes her pretty easy to build for damage, right? Makes it a lot easier to go crit damage gloves. Find that crit rate in your substat. So got an AoE on the A1, and the damage goes up with skills. We have a single target hit that ignores 75% of the target's defense. That's a lot of defense ignore for this game. And if you can put a Savage set on her, that's 100% ignore defense. And it's pretty good. And skilled up, it gets more damage. This skill can smack pretty hard. This is not bad at all. And then to move on, we've got an A3 that attacks one enemy as well. Has a chance of depleting the target's turn meter. Now we're talking about her having some spider utility, right? She's got a skilled up 100% chance of depleting the target's turn meter on a 4-turn cooldown. She's going to be critting pretty regularly, and it's not that hard. You can pump her damage up. She's got ignore defense here and AoE. So I don't know maybe about endgame Spider. Maybe with a crowd control set, there's a shot. If this did max HP damage, then there would be something to talk about with Spider. But even so, as far as being a damage dealer and offering utility, she does a lot. She does a lot of things for a rare, and the A1 AoE is a very interesting thing for her to have. Decent enough base stats, basically on par with the starters for the most part. She's an interesting champ. It's an interesting kit for a rare. I don't see this a lot. I think there's only one other person in the game that has the 25% chance to crit built into their kit like that, and I think it's Errol. I could be wrong about that. I don't remember who it is now, but someone has that, just has that chance to crit built in. But it's cool, and she's good. She's a good rare. You can build her. You can get a lot out of her. You can use her in a lot of different places. Not a bad champ. Not a bad champ to put some resources into. So moving on from there, another one that I've always had my eye on since I was new was Hyria. I've tried to talk about her a little bit more recently. I'm starting to use her in some comps and try to showcase her a little bit more because I don't think enough people are talking about Hyria. She is a fantastic rare, well worth any resources you wanted to put into her. She's worth a full 6-star. She's worth the book. She's worth the scrolls. She's well worth your attention. So not so much for the lead. Crit rate lead in arena is kind of meh, but first skill, attacks one enemy. She also has the 25% chance of inflicting a crit. This is not for her whole kit like Soulbound though, it's just for this skill. And honestly, you're not really going to be building her for damage, so to speak, at least this kind of damage. Her A2 and A3 are where her real shines are. A2 attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 35% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. So potentially landing 3 5% poisons there with this skill. It's on a 4-turn cooldown. You can get it up to a 50% chance with skill ups, which I would recommend doing. This becomes a pretty nice little poison skill. You can get some good damage out of her in Clan Boss with this. And I'll be showing that in future videos. I'm starting to put together some more teams using her. And she's nice there. But also, she has this skill. Attacks one enemy with 2 random allies. Allies joining use their default skills. Now, if you're familiar with Longbeard, he does this with the whole team. He makes the whole team attack and use their default skill. So obviously, he's preferable. However, if you don't have a Longbeard, this is really great, especially in Clan Boss, if you can pair with champs that have like A1 attack downs or A1 poisons or any usable important debuff that she's likely to pair up with. For example, if you've got a Coffin Smasher, he's got a good attack down on his A1. If she brings him, it's just going to reinforce his ability to keep that attack down on the Clan Boss. So that's really nice. It's pretty cool, and like I said, I will be showing you guys that in the future. But you can get it down to a 4-turn cooldown. Killer little champ. I think she's so cool. Another really interesting kit for a rare to have. You don't see a lot of this down here in the rares. So, Hyria is well worth it. Well worth it. Let's move on to the Skinwalkers and talk about Fleshmonger. Another newer champ. He hasn't been here too long. And another really interesting one. He is a rare with a 3-hitter A1, which is really nice. This is automatic Fire Knight utility, right? If you're struggling to get a Fire Knight team together, A1 3-hitter is good stuff to have. So automatic utility there with this. A2 attack buffs and crit rate buffs himself, and then gets an extra turn, and this can get down to a 3-turn cooldown. So a couple of things that are nice about this. 1, he buffs and he gets an extra turn. 2, you can get it down to a 3-turn cooldown, but it's also going to help. That turn counts here too, so it's going to help cycle this turn and get you back to this quicker. And it's another good AoE defense break. It's a 50% chance. It can get up to a 75% chance with skill ups. Now, if you remember, War Maiden had 75% by default, gets up to 100. But 75% chance, like I said, is still really, really good. And with him having this skill on a 3-turn cooldown, he will be cycling himself through the cooldowns a little quicker here. So he'll be able to do this a little bit more often. So Again, it makes him a good candidate for Fire Knight because he's going to help you with waves, with the AoE defense break, and it hits. He's going to be buffing himself, which means you can worry less about his crit rate stat and get more damage on him. And again, helps himself turn cycle. And then when you get to the Fire Knight, he's going to help keep the shield down and potentially help you keep the defense break up, right? Hopefully he won't be your only defense break in there, but he can help with it if the shield is down. So that'll be nice. And then to top it all off, he has a 23% dungeon attack lead, which is really nice. He's another example of a champ that I don't see a lot of people talking about, but is really, really good. There's a lot of utility here, right? The 3-hitter A1 is clutch for Fire Knight, and then he's a solid option for an AoE defense break. So if you've got him sitting in the vault and you feel like you could use some of that, if anything's lacking, and you know, if your Fire Knight team is lacking, I would try to bring him up and see how he helps you. I think that would be a good move because he's a pretty cool champ. And the last one I want to talk about today is Runic Warder. I think the dwarf faction is my new favorite. I've become a really big fan of this faction. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on in this faction, and I'm excited to see them add to it. I would like to see the roster and the dwarf faction get a little bit deeper, but he is one example of a rare that I think is really cool, and I think more people ought to be using because he's a bad little dude. He's an HP champ, 19,000 base HP, over 100 base speed. His A1 hits 2 times and damage is based on HP, which is important to note. That means as you make him tankier, you also increase his damage output. The 2-hitter does give him some Fire Knight utility, but I mean, it'll be good anywhere. Here we've got attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a decreased attack for 2 turns. Chance goes up to 50 with skill ups, and it's on a 3-turn cooldown, so you get his masteries done, get the debuff extension. There is potential anyway for him to keep this up in clan boss, so this makes him a decent little option for a budget clan boss team if you're struggling with it to find that attack down. Damage is also based on HP here. It does also hit 2 times, so now we've got 2 skills that hit 2 times. Again, a little bit more Fire Knight utility if you need it. And then his A3 places a reflect damage buff and a continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. This can get down to a 3-turn cooldown. Again, reflect damage is going to be pretty nice in clan boss. It's nice in Fire Knight. The continuous heals, he offers good support. He's bringing a lot of things to a fight now here, right? He's bringing HP damage, like not max HP damage, but he's bringing damage based on his HP, which you will be scaling up, which means he'll be doing okay damage. He's got multi-hits, which make him useful for Fire Knight. He's got an attack down, which makes him useful for not only clan boss, but anywhere where the bosses are going to be hitting you. The attack down is going to be handy to have. And then he's got the reflect damage and continuous heals, which, again, clan boss, Fire Knight, but in general, it's very nice. You're sending damage back, and he's offering heals to the team. So, again, lots of utility coming from this little dude. This rare. I didn't mean little dude like he's a dwarf. I meant like he's a rare. Lots of utility coming from him. Really solid little champ, and he's another one that I do intend to showcase a bit in the near future. I'm trying to bring up a lot of different rares that I think people should be more aware of. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. I just wanted to show you guys some rares that they're not completely unknown. It's not that nobody knows about them, but they're not the popular crowd. They're not the rares that everybody's talking about. And I just wanted to show you some that you could go ahead and build without worrying about wasting your resources on them or regretting bringing them up. I think all these champs are solid. I don't think you would regret building them. Even later down the line, if you pulled a replacement, you know, I never regretted all the energy I put into my War Maiden, even when I pulled my Zargala and then my Madame Ceres, because I just think they're fantastic little champs. Rare tomes aren't that hard to come by. You know, it's not like I spent legendary tomes on them or anything. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Almost knocked stuff off my shelf over here. If you did, liking the video helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you want to see more of what I'm doing. Other than that, I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know if there's any rares that I didn't mention here that you think are worthy of some attention. Maybe some lesser known, someone you're using in ways that people wouldn't expect. I'm always down for more information in the comments, and I would be interested to know if there's any rares that I'm overlooking, right? So, yeah, let me know what you think about the list, if there's anybody you want to recommend down below. And that's it. I'll see you guys soon.